Are the Glazers living up to their promise of giving Sir Jim Ratcliffe sporting control, as it seems like they're holding back on a few decisions? How much will Jim be able to do? Jadon Sancho's deal to Dortmund is apparently done, according to Florian Plettenberg. A lot of young players getting frustrated with Ten Hag, the management of minutes, and Man United could be losing out on a big, important young player that we need to get on a new contract. We're going to talk about injury issues, other news, updates, and more. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new, and let's get into it. So this is a little bit of context to the story that I'm going to get into in just a second. But essentially, basically, Jim Ratcliffe's come in, 25% stakes essentially done. It just needs to be ratified by the Premier League. It just needs to be approved by the Premier League. Bish, bash, bosh, it's done. Once the stake is done, Ratcliffe can bring in his CEO, he can bring in his sporting director, he can bring in his recruitment officer, which is rumoured and heavily reported to be Blanc, Ashworth, Mitchell as sort of what Manchester United's ideal candidates are. And there's a suggestion that Blanc's going to be very much involved at United. He actually went and visited Old Trafford. He's very close with Ratcliffe and Brailsford. It's been very heavily suggested that Blanc's going to come in as the next CEO. But now reports are coming out saying, oh no, sources close to Ineos and Man United don't know much about Blanc. Right after it's come out that actually the Glazers will get the final say on the CEO. And Ratcliffe, who's meant to get sporting control and has 25% of United and was promised sporting control, apparently, well, the Glazers will still have the final say on who the CEO is, who this is, who that is. And now the Blanc news is like, so it's interesting. We'll get into the article, then we'll discuss it. It was said, with 2 seats on the board, Ineos will have a say in choosing the next permanent CEO, but not the final say. The Glazers and Ineos will have to agree on a choice of candidate. Now, this is what I think is particularly worrying. I'm hoping this is just for the CEO, not technical director, not signings, not other people. But they're saying, yeah, Ineos gets a choice, but Ineos still don't get the final say. Ineos, who are given sporting control, no, still don't get the final say. And you can say, well, technically Blanc will be doing operations outside the sporting side. The CEO is going to do a lot of commercial stuff. So that could very highly be likely why the Glazers want to have a say on that. But Claude Blanc has done brilliant jobs in commercial business in PSG. But I just don't like that, because I'm every sort of couple of days we get a report like, oh, but the Glazers will have a say on this. I'm assuming the Glazers have a say on this because whoever the CEO is will be doing financial commercial stuff and working with the Glazers. But it's also like, well, how much control is Jim Ratcliffe getting? Is he going to eventually be able to buy the Glazers out? Jim Ratcliffe's coming to Old Trafford, and those who spoke to Jim Ratcliffe at Old Trafford and staff were said to, be very happy with Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming to Old Trafford. They think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has the right intentions. He wants to take the club back to the top. He doesn't want to make money out of the club. They think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has all the right intentions, but they're worried about, well, will the Glazers give him the power to do what needs to be done to get United back to the top? The staff, those who've met Ratcliffe, aren't concerned about Ratcliffe. It's just they think that Ratcliffe's ideas are brilliant, but they're concerned if he'll be able to do his ideas because of those above him. Now, what else was said by Dan Sheldon? It was obviously said here that Jean-Claude Blanc has been mooted as a potential candidate for Manchester United CEO and was thought to be under consideration, but numerous sources at United and Ineos, speaking on the conditional anonymity to protect relationships, have poured cold water over the idea. Across meetings in recent weeks, Jean-Claude Blanc's role has been portrayed as somebody's club staff can expect to see a lot of around the place, but the expectation is that he will very much be a representative of Ineos rather than the new CEO. Once launched, the CEO appointment process will consider internal and external candidates. Man United should entrust a task to a headhunting company. So what they're saying is Jean-Claude Blanc will be involved, but he might not be CEO. While sort of Ineos have mooted him as CEO and it looked like he was going to be CEO, it's now coming out that he might not be CEO, and they might be looking at other people to be CEO and get a headhunting company in to be CEO. And Jean-Claude Blanc will not work at the club, but will just be wandering around the club. I mean, for me, just give it to Blanc. I think Blanc would be a great CEO. We've had Richard Arnold, but Ineos clearly wanted Blanc according to reliable outlets. So I don't know if this is the Glazer thing. I don't know if the Glazers are stopping Ratcliffe bringing in Blanc. I don't know if Ratcliffe wants to bring in Blanc, but it's a bit of a weird news, and I'm going to wait and see what else gets said over the coming days on this. And obviously, I think nothing can be done until the PL approve Ratcliffe's takeover. So I think once that's done, we'll really get some updates on sort of the CEO process, because I think that will be the next person to come in. But enough of the takeover, enough of that. I want to talk about the young stars and sort of 2 stories that have come out about Isaac Hansen considering his future amid ongoing United frustration. He's disappointed not to be involved versus Wigan. And then Hannibal Mejbri not happy with Ten Hag. He wants a loan move, but Ten Hag is apparently reluctant to let him go, and he felt disrespected by the lack of minutes versus Wigan. 2 very talented young players who are probably better than McTominay at this rate, frustrated by lack of minutes. Now, I think Hannibal needs to go out on loan. I think Isaac Hansen is one of the most talented players in the academy, and you're naturally slowly bring him through. I kind of get frustration. You're playing Wigan, McTominay's playing consistently poor. Hansen wasn't even on the bench. Gore wasn't even on the bench, but that's because Gore's going out on loan. I get the frustration because they're two of the most talented young players. It was said on Hansen that Man United wanted to sign a new 4.5-year deal, but the terms offered so far do not come close to the package he's expected to receive elsewhere. Ajax, Atletico Madrid and Napoli, among others, have expressed an interest in signing Isaac Hansen-Aaron should he decide to leave United. Isaac Hansen-Aaron would love to make things work at United, but he's understood to feel frustrated by lack of first-team opportunities and has doubts whether to sign a new contract. This is a bit like Angel Gomez, and I know Angel Gomez might not be United quality now, but it's like we lost Angel Gomez because of lack of minutes. We've lost a few young players in the past because of lack of minutes. And I think Isaac's one of those sort of after the likes of Kobe Mainoo and Garnacho. He's in that sort of Dan Gore category. The Isaac, the Dan Gore, the Shea Lacey's. They're very talented players that I think, you look at Ajax, Atletico Madrid and Napoli are in for him. Pellistri's getting LA Galaxy and PSV, and we're asking Pellistri to start. Look at the type of clubs going in for Isaac Hansen. Look at the fact that, McTominay is having to play because of all our injuries. I would have liked to see Isaac Hansen involved versus Wigan. Not saying that he should be playing in Premier League games, but I'd like to see him start to make the bench and maybe have come on for 30 minutes and been involved versus Wigan. I think if you're Man United, I would have said to Ten Hag, involve Isaac Hansen in the Wigan squad, give him a few minutes because we want to sign him to sign his new contract because he's like the closest thing we're going to get to like Iniesta. He's a great talented midfielder and he might not be United level, but I think this is one where we've got to be careful because I think it'd be nice to give him some opportunities. We've got either Eastleigh or Newport County. This is one of the more talented young players. For me, I think it would be a big miss to let him go. I really do. I think, we've seen how Kobe Mainoo's coming in because he's got the technical qualities. He's made such a difference. Well, Isaac Hansen was, it's not quite Kobe Mainoo level, but he could make a massive difference. I'm at the point where I'd rather see him play than McTominay. Some people would just say that's crazy, but McTominay's had enough chances and had enough. This guy's very talented. He might not be ready. He might need a loan, but I'd rather see the likes of Meshbury play and the likes of Hansen play than like McTominay. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to see that. Maybe that's just me. Let me know your thoughts. But I just think this is such a talented player. United would be silly to lose out on him. And I really hope you can give him some minutes. Ten Hag can sort it out. Give him some minutes. Be a bit less stubborn because playing a full first 11 versus Wigan, I get we didn't have a game for a week either side. But still. Now, what frustrates me about Ten Hag not rotating versus Wigan is more because we don't want to risk any more injuries to the squad. With Manchester United having 23 players missed at least one match through injury this season, only Newcastle have had more than 24, sorry. So, basically Brighton, Man United and Newcastle have suffered the most by injuries, followed by Chelsea, although Chelsea just have the biggest squad, followed by Palace, followed by Spurs and Forest. You look at West Ham, have been quite lucky. The Wolves haven't been too unfortunate, and Arsenal, who are claiming all their players are injured, and that's why Arteta's dropped off, haven't had anywhere near as amount of injuries as United, and that's why I'd like to see you've been involved a bit more in the Wigan game and hopefully the Newport County or Eastleigh game, just because I think we've had so many injuries, and I think Luke Shaw was injured, came back, was very good for a few games, got injured again, is out for a while. That's because we didn't manage his minutes well. Luke Shaw came back and he played every single minute, 2 games a week as soon as he came back from injury, and you wonder why he got injured again. We need to manage minutes better, and that's something that Ten Hag needs to do. I think injuries, a lot of it isn't our fault, but the intensity of training, Ten Hag managing players' minutes, he needs to be a bit more careful with that, and I think he does need to rotate a little bit more. I know we've only got 1 game a week now just to manage players better with injury. So, what is the final bit of information we're going to dive into in today's show? Well, there are reports coming out that obviously the Sancho deal is done, but I think everyone knows it's going to be done. It's not really breaking news anymore. But it was said Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be at Old Trafford for the first time since his 25% acquisition of Manchester United on Sunday against Spurs. He will be involved to watch the Spurs game, and that Ratcliffe has been talking to senior Man United staff regularly and is expected to attend games on a frequent basis, with Dave Brailsford planning on attending most matches. So it says that Ratcliffe and Brailsford plan to attend many matches. I will say this about Ratcliffe. As I said, I was always full sale. Didn't like that Ratcliffe was allowing the Glazers to stay. But Ratcliffe has shown more interest in Man United in the last few weeks than the Glazers have ever shown. Ratcliffe coming in for a few days, meeting the staff, shaking hands. Ratcliffe's interest to actually watch us play, be involved, talk to people, meet to people. When did the Glazers ever do that? The Glazers came down to watch us in a cup final, and they spent 150k on expenses. And basically, the Glazers only watched the cup final because they thought, you know what, let's have a weekend trip to London in a private jet, 5-star hotel, blow a load of money, and then we'll just watch, the United match and make it look like we care. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. The Glazers don't give a crap about Man United. They don't. And at least Ratcliffe is showing interest in going to some games. and more. But listen, people, that's today's news roundup. I will be back at 5:45 p.m. tonight for a live stream, so do subscribe if you're new. We'll discuss this live. We'll discuss any info that comes out today in the live stream. We'll talk more about the transfer news to January plan later tonight. Thank you for watching. Bye.